Hey Happy Crew, HappiDaze here. Today's video we're going to do some TM runs. Apologies I haven't been able to get a Buildable Teams out video for this yet. Unfortunately, kids got sick again after just getting over it, so things have been kind of crazy around here. But that being said, let's get into the video, show you my teams and how we're doing these TM runs. We are going to do a bonus run, that way we can kind of guarantee we get the invasion fight, show you guys what we're doing. As you can see, we're top 500 right now, about 20%, so about 2,500 global players are playing this TM, which is kind of be expected after a major New Year's ago, so that's good. Good to see the player base back up. The last couple TMs have been pretty low in terms of player participation, so good to see that. First battle we're going to end up doing is the invasion battle, of course, versus Sakazuki. So for this, I'm using a team that's very similar to Todd's team that you saw, just because it makes sense. If you have all the boosted legends, you want to get the most boosted points, it makes sense to use the 3 New Year's legends to do that. So nothing kind of too crazy here. The one thing to note is that we do have the Nami support on the Sanji put in there for the paralysis, same thing for the Izo, and then we also have the Karasu support over on here to just help out with paralysis as well. So with the paralysis supports there, brutally helping to give the block orbs to good orbs, and then we have the whale shark ship. You do have to have it to level 11, just so you have that remove 1 turn of paralysis. This will be critical for both this and the boss fight. So just remember that you don't have to have it fully maxed to 12, but you have to have it at least to level 11, the whale shark ship there. So that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So we are going to be using a friend captain, Morley and Karasu here. So let's just grab this guy. Nothing kind of too crazy. You can go ahead and stall if you want to get the super switch of the Ace and Whitebeard ready, but it's completely not necessary. It just gives you a little bit extra damage, so if you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, then don't worry about it. As you can see, like, it already charged it halfway for you, so it's not as big of a deal. In the boss fight itself, you don't get any charge at all to it, so it probably doesn't make too much sense to stall for it for the boss fight. But if you just want to stall a couple turns for the intrusion fight, you can just get a little bit more buffs there with the super switch. So completely up to you how you want to do it. Everyone else's super switch is ready to go at the end. Stage 2, you're going to get your character swapped with someone in the middle row. And it's just a matter of using the super special and special of the Sabo and the Karasu and Morley there, just to go ahead and get Luffy into gear 4, so that way he doesn't have to deal with any of the paralysis on the final stage there. And it just makes it a little bit easier. Morley will help get rid of the paralysis orbs there for us, so it makes it really easy. So like I said, just use a super type of both Sabo and Morley, and the special of both of those, and you are absolutely golden. You're good to go. So you can see more than enough damage, nothing kind of too crazy there, out of the ordinary there. The downside to this team is that we have Bella Betty on here, so we don't have an extra unit to trigger the EX of Luffy. Kind of a downside, but it is what it is. So on the final stage, we're going to get Sanji and Pudding swapped back to where they were. As I mentioned, Nami will help get rid of the paralysis, along with the Karasu. Completely removes the paralysis, so we don't have to deal with that, which is great. Love to see that. So we're going to go ahead and do the super swap of the Ace and Whitebeard, just to get that. We'll do their special. Do Luffy special. In this match, Bella Betty does basically the same thing as the Nami and, the Sanji and Pudding at the top there. She removes the damage reduction, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you can just basically use their special to wrap it up. And yeah, just like that, you can then attack. You want to end up using the rush of Whitebeard first. That way you can actually get the benefits of the rush. Now, he's not going to do a ton of damage because he's obviously doesn't have an advantage. But you can see, like, I pretty much cleared his health just with him without having to tap anyone else. So that's good. Tons of damage. Should be fine for tons of levels. Not really worried there. And that's how you get through the intrusion boss pretty easily there. Apparently I forgot to level limit break my Bella Betty, but that is quite okay. Not a big deal. Alright, so invasion fight is done. So now we're just going to get through the rest of them hopefully pretty quickly. The hardest one out of all of these is probably Kizaru, so if you have the ability to get rid of one of them, I would definitely target the mini-boss of Kizaru, and the reason I say that is because I'm using a Sai G5 Luffy to go ahead and get through that stage, so 2 Luffy specials will end up killing him. Makes it really super easy to get through it. So it just makes more sense in that case to just use 2 Luffys, get through it, because he's probably the hardest of all the bosses, I would say. But that's just my opinion. Alright, so for this guy, what we're going to end up doing is we're using the Sanji and Pudding here. They take care of so much of the paralysis and get rid of some of the buffs there. I'm using the Nami and Carrot for the special bind removal, and then the Ace and the Izo unit there are just cerebral type advantage characters that I'm using, so you could completely replace those. It's not a big deal. And then Crocodile will just help get rid of paralysis, so the super switch of the Sanji and Pudding can help get rid of that as well. So it's not a big deal. He's not needed, but he's just a good point booster just to get a lot more damage. Just look at some of these supports real quick just to see what they do. So he's just helping get rid of paralysis, just 1 turn. Gives also 3% damage increase, which is kind of nothing, so it's not a big deal. The Chopper here will also give some paralysis here, so he gives another 1 to paralysis and attack down. We don't get attack down, so there's paralysis. And then again, same thing with this Usopp unit. If you use a special, then basically you can reduce paralysis by 1. So just a couple paralysis reducers on this squad. Nothing too crazy. When you choose the captain, you want to make sure that you're choosing Sanji, so you can super swap into the Pudding unit at the end there. Now, looking back, I probably should have made my captain Sanji too, so I could super swap both of them. But yeah, doesn't really matter. Either way works. But if you want to do more damage, just change your friend captain to be the Sanji to start off, and then you can super swap into the Pudding in the last stage. So you have the type advantage there. So the good news is no stalling here. Makes it pretty easy to get through. So we'll just kill these turtles real quick. Again, stage 2, we're just tapping. If you want to throw some units on here that are wave players, like I said, you could replace the Shanks and the Izo at the bottom there with them, and you'll be fine to kind of just breeze through the first 2 stages if you want to. Alright, go ahead and use the super swap on Nami, and then the special. That way we can go ahead and get the special bind back there. Again, I could have probably started with Nami and super swapped into Carrot, and that would have been a little bit better for the type advantage. So that's something you can definitely do. I'm going to super swap to Sanji there. Just use the rest of the specials just to get some additional buffs, just so we can kind of get through it a little bit quicker. Now, he does have a ability here to match it, to not matching slots, to colored slots. So you want to make sure that if you can, you have slots that obviously are not colored. So what I'm gonna do here is just use a super swap again of the Sanji and Pudding, just to make sure that 4 out of the characters have non-colored slots there. And just makes it really easy. You can see, like, it didn't even matter. Like, even though Shanks had a colored slot, he just absolutely, like, demolished it. So completely not needed, don't have to worry. The death hit is helped by the Sanji and Pudding. They give you 80% damage reduction. Makes it really easy to survive that death hit. So nothing kind of too crazy on this team. Alright, we like golden cards. We will definitely take that. We'll just discard one of those. We'll go ahead and replace the 50% chance with an 80% chance. You'll like to see that, of course. Same percentage, so it really doesn't matter which card we choose. Just getting a lot of 1s. Alright, here we go. Now we can wrap it up and actually start fighting some more bosses. So we took out one of the mini bosses, which is good. Next, we're going to take out Tashigi. So we're using this team here. I just wanted to be able to use Stussy. I don't get to use her in a lot of content, but she's pretty awesome with all the debuffs she can do. The downside is that you have to have 2 of the Vegapunk units on so you can trigger her super type, which gives poison through immunity, and just lets you do a ton of damage here. We're using the this unit here to go ahead and give you the Rainbow Orbs, the Hiyori, to give you the Wano Orbs at the final stage. and then Yamato to help remove that really annoying chain debuff that gets put there. And obviously, if you have the Christmas Uta, she takes care of that, right? So they actually want you to use the Christmas Uta to go ahead and get through that. But we didn't pull Christmas Uta. We didn't pull on that banner for Christmas Uta, so we don't have her to get rid of that annoying debuff. So instead, what you can do is use the Yamato unit. She can remove one of the debuffs on your left side of the screen, so as long as it's one of those, she can take care of that. The downside here is that not all these units are boosted, right? So the Hiyori and the Yamato are not boosted, so you'd have to stall for like 3 or 4 turns just to get them ready, which like isn't the end of the world. It just takes a couple seconds, but if you don't have the Halloween Uta, there's not really a lot of units that can get around that debuff, where if you have HA greater than 2, you get like a ton of attack down. It's a really annoying debuff. But like I said, Yamato can get through it pretty easily, and that's why we're using her, not even using any strength-based characters on this team that would have type advantage, and we'll still have plenty of damage to go ahead and kill Tashigi there. Alright, so on the final stage, we use Hiyori first. She'll give us the Wano Orbs all across the board. You'd love to see that. Then we'll go ahead and use the Yamato special. We'll go ahead and choose to remove that annoying chain debuff. We don't really care about the burn. That's not a big deal. We'll use Shaka and Atlas here, and the reason that we want to do that is because when we use the Stussy special, we'll get the Shaka cooldown back, which is awesome. And then if we use the Shaka special, we'll get the cooldown back for Atlas. So like, it works really good. Just gives you an absolute ton of damage. So you can see like, I'll do that, and then I get that back, and just gonna do more buffs, more damage here. So you can see I have a bunch of attack buffs, a ton of other stuff, and yeah, you can just one-shot like super easy. So yeah, not worried about this team at all. This will go pretty much to the end, and it works out really well with Yamato and using Stussy. Now Stussy gets through the barrier. That's why I really want to use her for this content. She just helps really get through that really easily. I mean, it's a one-turn barrier, so it's not that big of a deal. There's tons of units who can remove a one-turn barrier, so it's not the end of the world there. So this is a team that we're using to face Hina over here. So kind of the important things to note, you do get a special limit of 2 in the final stage, and you get stunned. So if you don't know, as I learned for not remembering, if you have a character who is stunned and they have a potential ability to resist the special limit, it will not trigger. So you have to make sure that whatever character you're using to get the special limit is in the middle row, because that's the row that doesn't get stunned. So just keep that in mind. We're using the Enel support on the Nami and Karina to go ahead and get rid of that stun on the final stage. We're using, a couple of these units here. Big Mom Jewel just give us a bunch of extra damage, and she has the awesome ability of Perispero, who can actually end up doing this. So the key thing to note here is that the reason, like, as I mentioned, for the Perispero unit is that you get 7 turns of Threshold and 7 turns of attack down. So the Nami and Karina only do 6 each, so you have to have an ability to get rid of that. So obviously this Perispero support will get rid of that Threshold for you, so you don't have to worry about it. Then we have this Kurouma support on the Sakazuki here, and basically he gets rid of the attack down by 1 turn. So with that, we're able to get through the content pretty easily, not have to worry about it. So yeah, let's get into the actual fight, show you what it looks like. You do want to have one of the units as Karina, one as Nami, just so you can get rid of all the nasty different debuffs there. That's why they're like the king of rare recruits, because they're just so versatile in what they can do. You have one of each on each of your team, and you can take care of so many debuffs. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, with that being said, we don't have to do any stalling, so that's always good. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and just quickly kill the turtles. Nothing kind of too crazy there. Again, stage 2, just killing. Alright, so let's go ahead and use the Karina special first. Then we use the Sakazuki special. He'll get rid of that attack down as part of the support that he has on him. It's good. Then we use the Big Mom unit. They'll go ahead and get rid of that Threshold by 1 turn. Use Dadan twice. The King Kaido really doesn't do anything here. They don't really do anything for us. They're just here for the special limiter. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and use them. Do a million damage, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And then we just kill from here. So again, as you can see, tons of damage. Should be fine to the end of the event. Not a problem at all there. Alright, for the final mini-boss, this is the one that I recommended that you fight on the map if you see him. It's Kizaru, obviously because we were facing him here. We can't kill him with just the 2 Luffy specials, so we have to do a little bit of damage to him. Key thing to note here, I just have support boosting, damage boosting supports on these characters, so again, put whatever supports you want on the characters, not needed. I'm just trying to get a lot of type advantage here. Unfortunately, the Luffy is not boosted, so you do have to stall just a little bit here, but that's the price you pay for you know, having to use the Luffy. But he's so versatile that it makes sense. Now, on this team, like, you could probably actually get rid of the Kid and the Vegapunk here, and just replace them with 2 more Straw Hat units, like maybe like the Shred Zoro, and that way you can trigger the EX of Luffy. So in this one, we're not even triggering the EX of Luffy at all, because we don't have to. We can use the Garp unit here to get through the Rainbow Shield on that last stage. And of course, we have the Jinbei who gets the defense 0, so he gets through the 12 turns of the defense up that we don't have to worry about there. Alright, so all our specials are just about ready, so let's go ahead and just tap through the stage real quick. Kill all the turtles. Alright, so like I said, the only thing to note here is the order special. You want to make sure that you use the Garp special last, and that's because of the barrier that's on here. So Garp will turn adjacent slots to recovery, which is what you need to break that barrier. So that being said, we'll just go ahead and attack with the rest of these units. Just give ourselves an attack boost there. And I don't want to use that Luffy again. I just realized that I forgot to use other Luffy first, because he would have turned the slots back to Sai and then wanted to break the barrier. So use both Luffys first. Don't do what I just did there. But you can see, even without using that second Luffy special, it was still more than enough to damage to get through it pretty easily. Alright, now for the final fight of the video. So this is where we're taking on the boss. So yep, let's get through it pretty quickly. We'll take a look at the team real quick that I'll show you. Let me just go back. So the reason I just want to go back to this screen was just to show you the different supports we have on here. They're all paralysis reducing supports. You need to do 7 turns, plus the ship. The Whale Shark ship will give you 8 turns if you have it up to level 11. So that is a requirement. You have to have Whale Sharks up to level 11. So in this case, we have Rayleigh giving 2, Reizo giving 2, Izo giving 2, the Morley support on Bello Betty giving 1, and then the ship will be the 8th turn reduction. So that's how we're getting through the paralysis there. We have the Sheru special support on Sabo that we can get rid of the poison on stage 2, makes it really easy. So yeah, that's the supports. I just want to point that out. You have to have at least 7 turns on your crew, paralysis reduction. That way you can go ahead and leverage the ship to get the 8th. So just keep that in mind. So let's go to boosted effects just so we can get a Morley friend captain here. So on stage 2, we're just going to do 1 swap into the Whitebeard Ace, and then use their special and attack. As I mentioned, you don't get their super swap charged, so there's no point stalling to try to get charges. It's just a waste of time to do that. So the good news is using the special get rid of the attack down, using their super switch or switch will give them an increase in the growth chain multiplier, because if you don't have a 2.4 or higher, you get a ton of attack down. I was debating whether to use the Bello Betty in this stage or the next, because you get this debuff in both those stages, but I think it makes more sense to save Bello Betty for the end, just because the end boss will always have more HP. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So we'll go ahead and use the special there, get rid of the attack down, and then we'll basically attack this way. You just want to make sure that your first 3 or 4 taps that you're doing are with characters who aren't, type advantage against Green Bull here. But you can see we got through it pretty easily. Probably should have used Sabo before I used the Bella Betty because she's more boosted, but again, that's just the tap timing order, not a huge deal. On the final stage, we'll go ahead and use the special of the Orochi down at the bottom there, and Kanjuro. Then we'll use the Super EX and special of Sabo to get rid of this annoying special bind that's on our units. Then we'll use Bella Betty to give us the chain growth multiplier there, or should I say the set the chain minimum there. Go ahead and use Luffy. And then lastly, we use the super type and special of the Morley and Karasu to change those slots from paralysis to matching. And then it's just a matter of killing from there. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Unlike the fight that we had in the Intrusion, we don't have the ability to get the Suga Rush of the Ace and White Bear ready to go. Is what it is. You can see still more than enough damage, more enough to kill them. So yeah, that's a walkthrough of how you kill the 4 mini-bosses and the main boss. Like I said, on the mini-map, if you can, I would probably end up trying to fight that Kizaru. He's probably the most gimmicky out of all of them. But yeah, these are the teams I'm using, kind of a mismatch of some teams I created, some teams that some of my fellow Alliance members on Discord have, some teams that Tashigi had, but this is kind of the crew I'm going with, at least for this TM. So hope this TM is going good for you. Let me know in the comment section below how your TM is going. Do you find it like super grindy compared to other TMs? Did you pull a lot of the New Year's units so you have like a lot of the boosters to be able to help you there? I know if you didn't pull at least the Luffy and the Sabo, these fights are going to be a little bit tough, right? Because there's some additional, I think it's on the Intrusion boss where depending on what the typing of your captain is, you get different debuffs, and it kind of is targeted against Luffy and Sabo there. So if you don't have them, I imagine it's going to be a pretty hard TM. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of this TM so far. Of course, hopefully now that things seem to be a little bit more stable here with the kids and everything else, hopefully videos will come back at a regular cadence. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being patient. And until next time, be kind to each other.